Good morning. I am higher vibrations, and so are you. And boy, oh boy, are the vibrations moving through the cosmos as we speak. I'm so excited that I get to share this the energy window of time to have, like, we have some pretty fun conversations with Joshua. I've been talking with Josh. Wait, I don't know. It's been like a year. It seems like longer though. Though the profound things that come through when we talk, it seems like it's regular talking about Tuesday, and it turns out to be like, oh, whoa, that was very prophetic, So I'm really excited to see whatever comes up is what's meant to, and I'm just want to say thank you, Josh, for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. But thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Um,
Chef
I
Deb.
was just, oh, sorry, go ahead. There might be a
Chef,
delay.
Chef Deb's on.
Yeah,
Peace.
Deb's such a great supporter. She's so cool. So you've
Yes.
actually seen Josh in the audience. Like wait, what's I forgot. I forgot to add that. I'll do that. I'll go back to the description of the video and add your channel later on, just so you know. um what what's your handle or what's your name in YouTube? I forgot already. I have to look it up every time.
It's Joy to Share 888.
Right, right, right. Cool. Thank you. So if you are looking for Josh, it's so the word joy to share and then three eights without any spaces. If you just go to YouTube and just search that, you'll find his link. But in the meantime, that's for the meantime. And then I'll go back after we're done recording and add that to the description of the video so y'all can find him. So um, and there's a lot of people in here that have talked with you in the audience. Isn't that fun to be on this side of the screen?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, can I just jump in and ask some random questions that I'm curious about?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So, well, first of all, it's always fun to ask this question. Um, what, like, if you had to go back and point out a time in your life where you were really starting to figure stuff out, like, and you know what I mean by, not just conspiracy theories kind of stuff, but energy, the stuff that you do already, Josh, even if you don't see it in yourself, I see it. Um, when do you think that, like, how old were you when it really started to, like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense, or wow, this thing is this? Like, you'd call, I guess, the beginning of your awakening, I guess.
Oh, probably, I think it was like 2010. I started having synchronicities,
Yeah.
lucid dreams. Hey, Lacey. Rose Matters on.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2010, I think, was around that time.
Yeah.
Started having synchronicity, like spirit animal encounters and things like that.
Ooh.
And that was really cool. um, Again, like when you have the synchronistic experiences for the first time, or at least that was when I started recognizing them. When I look back, I was having synchronistic experiences in my teens, but I didn't really recognize them, like, or I didn't really know what they were. I just knew that there was like some kind of something spiritual about it, something interesting about it.
Yeah.
But it kind of um, around that time, that was when I started having lucid dreams around 2010, and having those, like, having, like, seeing an animal in a dream, and then like seeing that animal in real life, and
Yeah.
just kind of making that connection. It's like, um, and I think too, like, if when you do have those encounters, it's very interesting, the intuitive kind of feelings that you have around that animal and that encounter. It really tells you so much about yourself, and yeah, that's basically when it started.
Cool. And that fact that you noticed those things, because I would say we all have those experiences, like as nudges to help us to see. Though, I mean, what I'm saying is, a lot of times we forget to be proud of ourselves, and that's a really profound moment when you started to notice that the animals were in your dreams that you're seeing in real life. People would not often usually be like, coincidence, or that's an interesting coincidence. like that's like coincidence takes away the power of it somehow or something, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it's not. It's it's one of those things. It's like it's not really easily explainable in the conventional way of looking at life. So because it's kind of like I think a lot of it's basically you realize that life is like a dream too, and
Yeah,
just I mean it just opens so many doors because then it's like anything is possible really, and yeah, I mean that's just kind of what it's all about, I guess. It's just kind of this big mystery.
yeah.
But seeing like I remember seeing because I remember seeing those animals for the first time. There was this crow that had a white feather, and this was actually something that I saw in real life, just like down the road from where I was working.
Wow.
It was like it was so profound because I'd had this dream about crows, and then started seeing that particular crow in real life, and then I started having these like really intuitive feelings that I guess up to that point, I was much more in my head. I think we generally are much more in our head before we have a spiritual awakening, and definitely at that point in time, that kind of broke me open in a way, like in the best way possible. That kind of like opened things up,
Yeah,
and started realizing. I mean, I'd had some psychedelic experiences before that had been, pretty interesting, but nothing like nothing in just like waking, I guess what you call sober consciousness.
yeah,
And so when you start, and then it's kind of like because when you have experiences like that, you start putting all the pieces together a little bit. You start seeing that, well, the dreams are getting me to this point, and then the psychedelics are getting me to this point, and then once I'm at this level of understanding, then I can start having these experiences in, say, more sober awareness, or
yeah, yeah,
and so and it's like stepping stones,
yeah.
and that's really, and now here we are, and because I was riding some kind of wave back then. I think we're all been riding that waves for a number of years now.
Yeah. And that's when spirit initially first comes in. They kind of like it's like bumper bowling where when you can ask them to make it so the gutters are filled in so the ball can't fall in the gutter. You know,
Yep.
it's like we've been doing every time in the initial stages of our awakening or a phase, large phase of our earlier, the first part of our awakening decades typically, we'll find that spirit keeps giving us these bumper bowling experiences to show you that it's there. And now that you know it, now you got the craving for it, like you want to. And so then we start to figure out, wait, how did I do that? It's like you ever see those pitch specialists, those vocalist trainers that they'll the person will be there and they're singing, but they're just off, and then the vocalist trainer will make a particular pitch in song just real quick, and it'll make the person's voice line up to then be the most brilliant voice that she never knew she had inside of her. Usually it's a woman, but men can do it too. It's the same concept, is that spirit does that to show you you have that pitch, and now go find it. You did it.
Mhm.
Now you're like a muscle memory, right?
Yeah, I'd never heard of that before.
Oh, it's so
That's really
pretty. It's
cool.
so fun to watch. Yeah, it is cool. Yeah. And the synchron sorry, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Wait, yeah, that's a good analogy to make, especially with the bumper bowler. It's kind of like it does. It's kind of like well, I mean, it's guidance.
Yeah,
It's really guiding you into something that, well, something that is inside of you, because it really wouldn't work if it were solely external.
yeah,
So much. And that, yeah, that's it. And too with synchronicities, because it's not just the lining up of the physical things, it's also the lining up of what you intuitively feel. And because it lines up with something that you are, and something that is now ready to announce itself in the world. And that is how the spirit works a lot of the time. Maybe if not all the time, I don't know, depending on how you look at it. But
Right.
the spirit is always informing you from the inside. And so, I mean, and that it makes sense because that's kind of what the spirit is trying to get you to understand, or trying to get you to realize, is that the whole of life is, it's I guess, recursive, or it's cyclical.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
It's all
that's
the work of spheres again.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know if you saw the comment, but the your energy is really balanced. And one of the things I really enjoy about you is that you bring you're this masculine energy that's balanced enough that it's just real gentle. And I love speaking with you, like, in a gentle, powerful way. If you can make, hey, I just said that at 11:11. We've been on for 11 minutes and 11 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to say I really appreciate your presence and who you are. Like, everyone here can feel it, you know. Um, and I don't imagine you were always this way. And so I wonder,
No,
like, how
it
is this something
wasn't.
that you've been working toward recently, or is this something that you've just been like? Is there a story there that you want to share? Maybe you can help someone else.
Well, it was. I definitely used to be more intense than I am now. uh, I think I think I kind of had a lot of karma to get through when I was younger or something. So like it was basically, I started having, well, I would have these experiences of like space, inner spaciousness, and it would be like, I don't know, you probably, I'm sure somebody here has experienced that, where it's like, just for whatever reason, you have this sense of like, your sense of being is like really like stretched out, and like all, it's like everywhere.
Yeah,
And it can feel like you're pretty much as large as you are small, and it's just everywhere all at once. And I remember I was kind of having experiences like that, but they never really stayed for very long or anything like that. But I was watching YouTube one day, and I came upon like a spiritual master. His name is Muji, and I don't remember exactly what he was talking about in the video, but just like his presence
yeah, I
kind of
like
like yeah, it's like that presence, when you're in a, you can tell too, because like somebody can say all kinds of things and you don't really feel it, but then other times somebody just like walks in the room, or you look at them or whatever, and it's just, you feel this like expansion inside or something. And like I immediately got that with him. And it was so cool too, because like there was this, I was sitting there, and it'd been kind of a gray, overcast day that whole day, and there's this little window on the wall, and as soon as I had that feeling of inner spaciousness, the sun came out from behind the clouds and shone through that little window, and it was
Ooh,
shining right down on me, and so I was like warm inside and warm outside, and it just was like the most sublime feeling.
wow.
And so ever since then, I remembered that experience. And so I would, ever so often, I would go back and watch some more of his teachings and some of his videos. And eventually, it kind of started to click in, because I was starting to have like a big shift in my life. I was starting to become much more heart centered. Before that, as I said, I was kind of more of an intense person, and I really couldn't meditate at all, really. I just wasn't able to do it because there's so much in my head. And something inside of me started to relax and come in more into my heart. And that was when I started to kind of really put together like what Muji was saying. And he's kind of along the lines of like Eckhart Tolle or Alan Watts, Ram Dass.
Yeah,
It's like kind of like Advaita non-duality kind of teacher. And so that is like that's kind of, it's really about like realizing that yourself and the self are kind of, they're the same thing,
Yeah.
or same, formlessness in a way. And when you kind of, it's interesting because it's like you kind of lose, you give away your sense of self, or your, like, your conditioned sense of self, what you've been conditioned to believe you are, or like what, maybe you were told that you were, and you kind of let that kind of drift away, like, so many thoughts and feelings that often come up in meditation.
Yeah.
Because if when you meditate, or you can see your thoughts, you can see impressions, you can see, feelings in your body, and but usually we don't make the connection that sometimes the person that we think we are, like if it is this really kind of rigid idea or this old outdated pattern, um, that version of ourselves is also a thought or a feeling.
Yeah.
And I started to really, realize that, like, because I realized that, like, I'm actually a much more sensitive person than I was letting on, and that maybe I didn't like some of the things that I was agreeing to in my life. I just kind of felt compelled to do it because this is who I am. This is who I was told I was. But then I started to realize, by developing this, greater awareness, that these things are really, they're kind of optional. They don't, I don't really have to be this way if it really isn't healthy for me, or if it's not really useful. So that was like the big realization, I think.
Yeah.
And when you do have that kind of realization, the kind of just resting in that formlessness, and it's kind of like you can access that deep sleep state, but just when you're awake, and just when, it's just a simple shift in perception away, oftentimes.
And it's
So
just light. It's so shocking how much profound change occurs by this just teeny tiny little, like, it's not even really a pivot.
yeah, it is, and it's almost like not making any effort at all.
Yeah.
It's already there.
Yeah.
You already are.
The words that spirit told me that made that happen for me, well, I feel like it's happened a lot of times in our lives. Like, I'm sure you can go back to when you were 7, you had one of those, and then
Hmm.
throughout your life and so on.
Hmm.
But is
Definitely.
that, yeah, there's a lot of people who had stuff happen at 7, but that's just something they're talking about for you. I'm not going to go into it, but some cool stuff. That's one of the things that they talk about, um, with you. Uh, so what Spirit had done for me, it was in 2020, and it was the beginning of lockdown, and I just found out, or I just lost the land we were on, and all of a sudden we were homeless, and we were thrust into society from a near off-grid living situation, right? And Spirit kept showing me why, and so I wasn't worried. Everybody thought I was insane because I wasn't concerned. I had a 5-year-old, and I was a single mom, homeless during the beginning of lockdown, May 2020. Like, lockdown was federal on March 27th, 2020, just to get an idea. Anyway, um, so they kept showing me that I was going to be on TV, which is, that's how it looked like to me, what we're doing. It feels like we're on TV in the visions. And they showed me I was going to be looking in people's windows and it was going to help them. And what it was, I was doing Zoom meetings. I'm looking in your living rooms, in your kitchen, wherever you're joining me from, your bedrooms, like I'm looking in your windows. And I was overwhelmed by the quantity of people that they showed me that this was going to impact in a positive way, because I was really introverted. I was so introverted. And then they said, "Don't worry, this is it." I had to give them. They said, "Don't worry. If it's hard, it's not your job.
Mm.
And if it's hard and I'm still doing it, I'm taking someone else's job right then."
Mm.
Right?
That
And
makes sense.
it was that, just that little change in how I thought about things. Because of, like you, I thought that I was supposed to do this all the time, like that thing that sucked, whatever it was, and like when you realize, wait, I don't. have to think that way. I don't have to. Like there's a lot of power behind saying F it, you know, that kind of energy.
Mhm. You channel that, you know,
Yeah.
because we have a lot of potential and a lot of energy that we put into things that, well, it's normal for a time because you don't really realize it,
Yeah.
and it seems to help you survive or get you to a certain point. But that's that thing too, like that experience that you're having, you know, that's like it's kind of a funny thing because like a more like spiritual, like your spirit is like, all right, yeah,
Yeah.
woo, challenge, all right, yeah. You like fit your mind and your conditioned self is like, oh, this is the worst thing ever, or there's a part of you that's supposed to be that way. But the thing you realize is that your spirit is always like, yeah, this is great, this is exactly what I need.
Yeah.
This is going to put me into the next part of my life. And
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. Like I had kind of a similar experience too, where like I was having health issues and I couldn't work, and I couldn't hang out with the same people. I couldn't listen to the same music. Like my whole life was just doing this 180, and I had to move back home. And um, whenever I would, it was just whenever I try to go back to these old things, it would like be uncomfortable. It would be painful, and it really, from the ego's point of view, or that conceptual self that we often have, it seemed like the worst thing. It was like, oh man, you're taking away all my goodies. You're taking away all my fun times and stuff.
Right.
But it was such a, it's like if I hadn't had that experience, I wouldn't have grown in the way that I did. And like it's
Yeah.
been just so much better. Like I'm just so much happier now. Like I actually allow myself to like do cool stuff like this. This
Yeah.
isn't something that my old self would have done, wouldn't have been able. So, you
Right.
know.
You know, I just happened because I'm adding things and looking, and that's what I'm supposed to do as a host, right? And I you started to talk about that, and we were at the 21:12 mark, and you finished exactly at the 22:22 mark. That part, just I don't know why I wanted to write that palindromes of the 2112 timestamp, but I wrote that down while you were talking. It's just fascinating. So I don't know. I'm going to go back and watch that section again later on too. I'm so glad that these are recorded. Josh, you and I have some profound conversations, and every time that we're talking like this I'm so excited this is recorded, right? Because every time that we talk, I always think, I wish this was recording. Like, because this, like you're just and watching you get into the channeling state. I don't even know. Do you realize you're in the channeling state when you are?
I think it's just well, yeah, well, yes and no, because it's become very natural to just be there.
Yeah,
Because of that meditation and the teachings that I followed. It's kind of like you kind of just abide in that space.
yeah,
So I've realized that a lot of the stuff, especially when I found your channel and we started having conversations and things, I realized that when, for instance, when you were doing like the channeled meditations and things, I realized that, some of the things that I would receive at that point in time would be like right in sync with something you were saying, or like, and it'd bring up creative inspirations and things like that. And I realized that that was kind of how I'd been living anyway. I just didn't have the perspective of like others' experiences because I'd been kind of doing it on my own.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Interesting. Well, thank you for that. That's really cool. I'm so happy to hear that. And yeah, I mean, I would say that that people ask me the same question is why I'm like, let's ask somebody else. It's like how. when once you are in the flow, like that, like Chef Deb says, go with the flow, learning to surrender and flow. It was what Rosematter said too. Like it's that, not even realizing that you're there. The way I can really tell if I'm channeling is that I'll notice myself trying to correct someone's statement to make it so you guys understand it better. You guys, I don't mean like anybody in particular, just, and when I'm noticing I'm correcting it, and I'm realizing it's someone else's words that are coming through. And the other part is usually I'll forget what I said.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like my ego, my identity steps aside just enough that I don't remember it. Do you remember when we're like after our conversations? Do you remember what we have talked about?
Sometimes better than others,
Yeah,
but sometimes it's more because like there might be some like physical stuff in my body that I'm working through or something, and I have to put a little more energy into that. So it's just like sometimes like the memories and stuff like that just it just is kind of flowing in and out.
yeah,
Other times sometimes I just remember things and I'm amazed, like, wow, I hadn't thought about that forever. Or I just have this insight about something that we could have talked about and it might be like a day or two later, it's like,
yeah, yeah,
so I think it all really does get stored away
yeah,
in a space. And like we believe that our brain is where all the memories are, and I guess in a way it is, but I think it's much more just kind of in the field of being. It's like you and so like when you're channeling and you're accessing things, you're kind of making yourself receptive to a certain frequency, and then you can really tap into that frequency wherever it's being broadcast or wherever it's present. And so, like memories and things like that. And I was actually thinking about this the other day about how like quantum healing and things like that, and how you can like I guess like when you're a little kid, and you kind of tap into certain feelings that you might have had when you were a kid, and you're like, man, I wish things could be the way that they were back then. But when you tap into that feeling, it's like you are literally tapping into the living memory or the living record of that
yeah,
still exists in the quantum field. And so it's like everything is really a timeless quantum existence, but it bears the appearance of a physical, what we call physical
yeah,
linear time progression.
yeah.
Which, yeah, so, and I
Wow.
I know I know you know that
Oh yeah.
very
Oh yeah.
well.
And the amount of downloads that we already are getting at any given moment is already pretty profound. But then when we connect, then we just initiate like a whole like freaking landslide of downloads that initiate themselves over a series of days afterward. So it's like that's why the energetic field looks like a web of light, because
Mhm.
you're me and I'm you, and we're this web, and we're just like we're cross points. So like if this was a web like behind me, like like one of us is here and one of us is here, but we're all whole. Like we're all this, and like so what you're talking about, I feel like I agree that like they call it the akashic or the akash or the there's a lot of different place, like the memory bank of the universe, and all this stuff. But who's to say that that's all of the knowledge that we have in our body? People say that's all of it, but there's so many different universes and cosmoses. It feels like the plural should be different than that. But anyway, cosmos I.
Cosme.
Yeah, cosmic. Is that's like where we can, if you go far enough out through the edges of the cosmos, then you actually find that there's a redundancy where now you're in a place where there's a bunch of orbs, and each orb feels like somebody, and the orb is the cosmos you just left.
Oh,
So it's, and we can do that. And when we go over there in that place, it's like, to me, I see it like a big white room with a big bunch of orbs. And it's so fascinating because then you're super tall too. And we realize that we're really only like, I say a handful, like it's really exaggerating on a minimal scale. There's not that many souls. It's just aspects of souls.
Oh, they say they kind of branch out from like archetypes, from like
Right.
well,
Yeah.
I've heard that before. There's a I think it was called like the something about Gaia. It was a book that had something to do with Gaia, the Gaia effect or Gaia project or something like that.
Huh.
And they said there's like five like essential archetypes that everyone was kind of branched off from. So I don't I don't know if it's true or not, but it makes sense. I think it's definitely true.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some
I
of the
mean, and then we did this meditation where we were given this pyramid that represented all things. Like it was so small, like it was 10 millimeters. That was the meditation from yesterday, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. And like we do weekly meditations for those of you that are wondering. In fact, I asked a while back. I caught spirit. They've been tricking me into meditating more by leading meditations. That's why it started, but it's turned into this amazing group of people that I just love. And but yeah, we did this, and they gave us this little teeny tiny pyramid. It was just, but it was so heavy, but it levitated when it was placed in our hands. And I don't know if I posted that meditation in the big group. I'll make sure I do that tonight. But that was pretty fascinating. I don't know why I'm going there. I feel like because each one of us got a different one, or was it the same one? I don't know. What did we do? Do you remember? Anyway, there's something there. I'll have to figure that out. Sorry.
That was I mean that was I was kind of I didn't really go too deep into that one because I got about to the point where we were going to the tree. You picked the tree that we would come back to,
Uh-huh.
and I could see like my inner child on the bed inside. And then I just my body was kind of, it just kind of I feel
Mm,
like I could go more into trance and go in more into the astral if there were certain like blockages and things in my body that were cleared up.
right.
Sometimes I feel like they take up energy, and sometimes they might be like interference patterns and things.
Yeah.
Some, some other thing, some old distortion or something that's trying to come in.
Yeah.
Because it seems like I used to have more astral experiences, but I don't as much now, even
Right.
though at different times I can really see visions very clearly in my mind. And I get the sense that, especially when I get synchronicities and different things, I definitely get the sense that there are, angels and like extraterrestrial beings kind of like in the ether, they're just, you're kind of like tapping into that vibration. I think they probably do form some of the things that I think and say, and certainly are present, when we are meditating in group and um, present right now, certainly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think um, interacting with you and everyone here, it's kind of, I realized that that part of myself is kind of maybe something that had been put on the back burner for a while,
Right.
and but it always been there, and feels like it's coming more online now,
Yeah.
getting more into the visualizations, and it's like kind of entering back into that sphere of energy.
Coming back into the body, into the, and like you said, emotion isn't and processing. This isn't a storage. The brain. In fact, there's more electricity in the heart than there is in the brain. I don't care. Like that's how I see it. I go into a body microscopically, which is part of what I do in my sessions. And like, yeah, there's synapses, there's energy and electricity in the brain, but the reason the third eye is looking down is it's looking at the most vibrant thing there, the heart and the spleen, like the illumination of the heart space. Like I don't know why you there, but that's a whole. I guess that's an interesting topic. But It's very much that it's much more light filled than we're ever told. Probably because the what we're using to view it is matte light. It's the light of artificial light is placed on it to cause the image to occur. But it is very much. I have something I wanted to when you were speaking. They were like, "Well, do this." Just so you know, this is it's something useful for everyone to be aware of. Is So the best way to assist yourself in to do, like, because a lot of us have that, like, we've got blockages on our body, we've got like nervous kind of energy that pops up, or there's you got to wiggle too much or whatever. First thing is, I got guided a while ago. Move all you want. Spirit told me move all you want. Like, sometimes I'll be meditating, and when I wake up again from the meditation, I'm standing. Like, I have to be very present and aware. Don't stand up when I'm doing them, because I need to be close to the microphone, when I'm guiding meditation for people. But um, the other thing is they brought up is do qigong for 10 minutes before you meditate. You got to wiggle all of that out and get the lymphatic system flowing. Let the chi start to move, and then
Mhm.
sit down to meditate. Like, I forget that stuff a lot too, but I'll notice a much more profound experience if I do, even if it's not official qigong. It's just like I'm just gently bouncing on my, bending the knees to kind of, and like just let your arms sway, and they'll pat and tap the areas of your body that are meant to be interacted with at that time. Those types of things a lot of times will help. I don't know if that's something that someone else in the audience needed to hear, or you, but I mean, maybe try that.
Yeah, I think that, well, actually, lymphatic system, the lymphatic flow is very important. And I've had kind of trouble with that in the past and still recovering from that. So I think that would be useful, certainly.
Yeah.
Um, Qigong, like I like to walk a lot, like just kind of just go out numerous times during the day and get out in the woods and actually today the energy I could see so much sparkling energy in the just out on the ice where I was walking. It was so intense. Like it was really subtle and calm, but it was like so sparkly. It was beautiful.
Cool.
So yeah, it's there. You go out and harvest it, breathe it
Yes.
in, and bring it with you. It's like
If
this
you can
unending
get, sorry.
resource.
I think I have a delay for a second. I kept thinking you were stopping. Sorry. I was just going to agree with you. And if you can get out, that's great. That's a really good idea. And then maybe when you're walking, notice that you're bending your knee, maybe kind of bounce almost on a part of the walk. And that's going to help your lymphatic system flow somewhere too.
Oh yeah,
Right.
put a little bounce in your step. Pep in your
Right.
step.
You remember those shoes, those rocking shoes that came out a while ago? Everybody was wearing them for a bit.
No, what are those like?
The
They have like
sole, it was
springs on them.
convex. The sole of the shoe it was convex. So like it had like so when you walked, you would roll, and it was supposedly meant to like get you to, like, it was an exercise shoe. Yeah, I only
I
know
have to look
about it
those up.
'cause someone gave them to me one time, and I was like, "What are you saying?"
Did you did you wear them?
One time, and it was so annoying. I couldn't do it. I They had a
It
really thick
sounds amazing.
sole. I like to walk barefoot.
Yeah, yeah, I do too. And yeah, earthing too. Grounding, get your feet on the earth. That's always a great thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other thing is tapping. Most of the tapping centers are tapping the lymph nodes. So that's where there's 7 main points where you'll be tapping, and that's done in any of the qigong videos you can pull up on YouTube that I've ever seen. I'll do it with my daughter, so we do the ones that are like, more beginner kind of stuff. But they're typically only about 10, 15 minutes long. Like, And so like one of the main parts are like on the sides of your neck next to your ears. You'll notice when
Yeah.
you have an ear infection that you want to like slide your fingers down. You're like milking a cow, you're on your neck. And like that's one. And then you got them that are like right here on your collarbone, your clavicle. When you
Yeah,
tap
like
tap
I
tap.
think right, yeah, like
Yeah.
right here. I think
Yeah.
it's here, here. I think you got there's some on your like your hips too, like your inner
And that
thigh.
and so like the side of your fist, and then just like let it fall gently. You're not beating yourself, but you start at your butt and you go down to, you can do it sitting. It's better to do like leaned over if you're sitting. Um, and then stop before you reach the knee, of course. Behind the knees, these are, the one that's at the door of the soul is the belly button area, and you'll notice that behind and in front, like there's a lot of different things that I'm just doing what spirit showed me. I actually don't have any like official schooling or training or knowledge. This is just what spirit's shown me. I found out about the ones on the thighs and the legs because I was curious. I asked spirit all kinds of random stuff, and I said one time, I'm like, why do guys always want to slap the women's butts? Like, what is that? And there's actually a need for women even more than men in this area because we have so much more tissue and like bigger butts. And so like there's this natural, there's also the other sexual part is like the, why do guys like think that there's something about touching a breast that's actually helping the woman? Like, so if you're single, like that's, and you need to move that tissue because there's more tissue collected there, so you're gonna have more gathered up. Now, I don't have a man's body, so I don't mean to be talking and not mentioning the men's areas. I just don't know. I'm sure you have bigger tissue areas that need more focus. For you, it's behind the knees and right here. Those are the
Yeah.
main spots.
Okay.
I talked a long time. I didn't mean to do that. I wanted you to talk.
No, it's very useful information.
Yeah, good.
Sketchers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they were Skechers. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the image in my mind.
Yeah, they were so funny. And like, I like moccasins, or like like I'll wear as small of a sole of a shoe as possible if I can. 'Cause I just don't like, or I'm barefoot, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's barefoot's the best way, I think.
yeah.
Kind of like build up your hobbit resilience and get some hair on your toes.
Yeah. Well, and then like you said, that's your grounding that whole time. You're earthing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When
And
did you start doing that? Sorry, I cut you off again.
when I don't know, it was probably like maybe 5 years ago. I mean, I'd been doing it when I was a kid. I think a lot of us were probably barefoot when we were a kid and didn't realize, didn't think about it. But
Yeah.
um, I actually remember it was actually right around 2010, 2011. I started, like, I was working at a place and we had to, we were doing some landscaping and we had to put some soil and hay down to kind of seed the lawn and, make it, prepare it for growth. And so I noticed that it was like really pleasant to get my feet in the soil. And then that kind of, from then I started doing it more often with my friends and um, even going so far as to like kind of, we would walk barefoot at night in the winter. Um,
At
one
night.
time, yeah, we did. Yeah, that particular night was interesting because we actually took some LSD and did it.
Oh,
And so I
everyone
don't
kept
know.
all their toes.
Yeah, yeah, we
Good.
everything worked out. Um, I don't know. It's like one of those things. I don't know. It seems like, sometimes when you're in a psychedelic state, you can kind of do things that you wouldn't normally be able to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's well, I mean, yes, there is certainly truth to that, but I think a lot of it was just you kind of get over. your mental blocks about it, and just feel it through and get your shoes off once in a while.
Yeah.
And so I still go out. It's cold. It's really cold. I live up in Maine, so it's really cold right now. But I
Right.
still try to get out barefoot once in a while, even if it's only for like a couple minutes.
Wow. Yeah, dude. That's cold. That's like where I come from, cold.
Yeah, it's no
Where you
joke.
like freeze like a bubble, like the bubble solution. Like that was my only watch it freeze, and like you go outside after you take a shower, your hair's still kind of wet. It would just freeze automatically, immediately.
Yep,
Like
it
the
does that.
daytime.
Yeah, that's how it is up here.
Yeah, but you got some really cool. That's very. It's seen as sacred land. A lot of that area that you're in, so that's pretty makes sense why you are where you are.
It's
Yeah,
very, yeah, the air up here and the energy, there's a lot of energy in the forest. There's a lot of forest in general. So many trees, and the place where I'm living right now is a spring-fed lake. So, and I don't know, I think from what I heard it was quarried out, and it was like a big quarry that
huh,
was man-made, and eventually they kind of I guess they went down deep enough and they hit like a spring under the ground, and it just filled up this whole basin. I always thought that it had been carved out by glaciers, and I was kind of disappointed when I heard that it was man-made, because I had maybe kind of a romantic image about it, but
yeah.
it's still a very beautiful place. And
I wonder if that's true though, because a lot of the narratives they tell us aren't true. Like how long ago did that? Jeff Deb, thank you. Oh, that's so generous of you.
oh
Thank you
wow,
so much. Wow. Wow. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Um, sorry, I just wow. Uh a lot of like how long ago did they supposedly have that happen? Like was it within the past 100 years or before then?
I think it was the 1940s.
Yeah, so there you go. I'll bet. I wonder. I feel like a lot of history around that time and before it was all like there's some stuff that's kind of being revealed right now that not that it exactly matters. I feel like what your intuition about it is more correct than what you're being told. That's all I'm saying.
I kind of well, it seemed like a strange story, and there's actually a part of, if you go down, there's a certain part of the lake where there really aren't many houses because the terrain is it's so rough and rocky. There's like these giant rock formations, and trees are kind of growing out of it, and there's these they're like kind of minuscule valleys in between them. And I don't know, whenever I would go down there, I'd think like, this looks like it'd been carved out by some like natural motion, like if glaciers had been going through it or something. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Uh,
and the guy who told me that it had been man-made, I don't think he was alive during that time, so I really don't know. Just
yeah.
something you've heard, I guess.
Fascinating. There's more to be revealed. There's so much being revealed right now that I think that by the time that I don't know. Have you noticed this? I'm just curious. I the stuff that like I'm waiting for them to come out and tell us, like by the time that they end up doing it, I don't really it doesn't matter anymore. Like I don't care. It's like, oh yeah, we know. Like when they're like, ooh, there's aliens or there's UFOs, I think is what they said. That first time that was in March 2020, they did that. But then, it's like by the time that they say that, everybody's like, well, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I mean, even the people that had me under close watch like psychologists and stuff, because I talked about ETs the Pleiadians were interacting with me, and now then when they said that there's aliens, those same people were like, yeah, we know. It's like, isn't it so like I don't know. But my point is that by the time that they tell us, does it really even matter? Like our
yeah.
history doesn't matter.
And especially, like when you're more intuitive towards these kind of things, you're already kind of picking up on it way before, they're going to even disclose it. So
Right.
I don't know. Like a lot of things that come out, especially like with aliens and stuff like that. I mean, I've always known that aliens are here, and
Right.
I mean, I didn't necessarily know they were on Earth as much as I do now. But I always had the sense that they're just out there. It just
Yeah.
makes intuitive sense. But
Yeah. Definitely. Like, and then we're from the generation that was raised with the X Files. Like that was, or I don't know. You're pretty young compared to me. Did you have X Files? Did you watch the X Files growing up?
I've I've only seen a couple of them, but
Yeah.
they were around when I would have been pretty young. I was kind of a little kid in the '90s, so I think
Right.
that's about that same time.
You remind me of my little brother Scott, and then actually Todd. Chef Deb says, I see you, and you remind me of my best friend Todd in high school. Like I know that it's kind of a common thing. A lot of times we'll find that, like, those of us that are like, I don't know, because like we talk about how we descended through each fractal. So each time we separated, right? We became two. One became two, and that mitosis that happened. My book's over there, I can grab it, but it shows that each time that had that separation happened, no, nothing was lost, and one became two, and those two became more, and it goes on and on and on. And now what's happening is the breath back in, and so we're joining our higher self, merging and becoming not something new, but something more. And then our higher self becomes our higher self, right? And as we do that enough times, then we join again ourselves. And so I feel like what we're seeing is your soul, and we're seeing, it's really cool how that happens. That just because we're all meeting each other back again. Like we're all do you know what I'm talking about? Like the soul families are finding each other now, you
Mhm.
know? It's so cool.
It makes a lot of sense, especially like when you think about like quantum entanglement and the cohesion of things, and also like ascension. The process of ascension, I think, is it's my buddy Travis, Purple Sun. What's up,
Awesome.
dude? Yeah, man. I'm glad that you made it, dude.
That's cool. Thanks for coming.
But what? Yeah, but like ascension, I think there's a lot of ways to look at ascension, but it kind of is that process of you know coming back, because it's like in a dynamic sense, like you're always the spirit, and you're always that higher self, like you're never disconnected from it. And it's like everything that the lesser, I don't know if lesser is the best word, or lower selves or more human selves, whatever you want to call it, but it's kind of acting out the will of that higher self. And the more that we realize that in a conscious way, we kind of then can get away from the resistances and the hang-ups, and kind of get out of our own way, I guess,
Yeah.
and allow that process to happen. And I don't,
Yes.
it's so multi-layered too. Like, I feel like there's so many different streams that you could follow to I don't even know it's like there's just so many streams you could follow to like figure that out. And but I guess that's the mystery of things. It's like that's the fun of it. You can kind of take it in any direction you want to take it in.
Right.
But yeah, I know what you're saying, because I remember that picture. I could see it when you mentioned it. Yeah.
You keep talking. It's okay.
No, but this picture is very cool, because it definitely has that.
There it goes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like you kind of everything kind of subdivides and keeps expanding out, and that black line. that border there is just like, it's your point of view, because from your point of view you think it's just a black line, but it's actually all these individual souls,
Right,
just, and then it's the fractal, it becomes the fractal universe, and the cohesion of souls and everything.
right. And it I have a side one too to kind of show, like, and I never finished it, but like the center sun looking object would be God or source or creation, and then on either side it's the separating, the fractaling, the beginning, the experience of descending through all the different rings. So one becomes two. This is one of those two, and it actually looks like a ring from this direction. I just didn't draw it all the way, and then it has a spiral nature to it. So if we say that, if we just say, let's, this is, I don't know, let's say that's Mother Mary. So everybody that's from that and all the way down, are all fractals of Mother Mary. And so the 144,000 is a number that's assigned to the entrance of the soul, not the fractal. And so
Ah.
yeah, so of 144,000, I don't know how many fractals happened or where we are. Though as we join our higher self, merging with our higher self, we become something more. And when we become something more, we begin to notice each other. Because now you're higher, it's like you can't see this if you're down here, if you're vibrating down here, kind of thing. Like there's a and so as you raise your vibration, we like fade into seeing it and begin to start to find our family and find ourself in these conversations, and looking back, looking at someone else's eyes and knowing they're your eyes is such a fascinating experience. I did meant to just explain it. I didn't mean to cut you off. You had something else you were saying. Excuse me. Please go on.
No, no, you said it beautifully. um that Yeah, and it's like when you were saying that, it made me think of like, because each soul is like a layer, and you kind of are ascending through these layers of reality, and yeah, it's like it's all frequency, it's all energy, and it's kind of like, coming back to, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. It's like so much, but it is like you are discovering yourself, and you're discovering like the potential that you see in yourself is the potential you see in others, and um, you know, going back to, I had a thought, it slipped, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of, that's kind of what it's been like today. Kind of
We're
been
that
downswing today.
sorry. Yeah. Uh, for anybody else here that's also experiencing this, by the way, this is what it feels like to be in today. Like I'm actually really impressed with how well we've kind of had a conversation going because how the energy feels.
I know.
Yeah.
I felt pretty heavy today.
Well, when
Although
did
I think,
it shifted since then for you?
yeah, it has kind of like during maybe like 2 or 3 o'clock or so.
Yeah,
It's kind of shifting, and
that's 1 o'clock for me. Right? Yeah, because the East Coast is it was two. It was you're in the Eastern time zone, right?
yep.
Right. And we actually started to get some solar impact and energy that we're expecting because of that rare planetary alignment as it approached the sun. Uh, Solar alignment, I mean. It was Venus and Jupiter got really close to the sun. You could see cool pictures of it. Um, but it triggered like a really big solar explosion. The main one was on the opposite side of the Earth facing side, that it made the whole sun go. Hey, can I show you something cool?
Yes.
Speaking of this, I actually I don't know where to give credit. Okay, I don't know video. I think this was captured somewhere. Our friend Trina actually um, took taken a screenshot. It looks like off of a YouTube channel video while it was playing, but this this is the cool part. So I don't know whose finger that is. This is what I'm
Oh
saying.
wow.
But if you look at it, you can see there's the S, and there's actually a couple other S's and stuff in here. But what I think, the first thing I saw, what I think is the most fascinating, is this looks like Superman's logo. Superman's like right. This is you got the
Yeah, it
upside down
does.
triangle, right?
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, I can see it.
and there's the S in the middle of it. And like last week, we kept getting Wonder Woman stuff, and now we're getting Superman stuff. And you know what, Superman? The thing about Superman is, Superman, he's from the house of El, Mikael, Raphael, Gabriel. The L is an addition to the name, meaning son of God, like Mac would mean son, or like in like the Swedish world and like Danish and stuff, um, they would give the name to their child. They would give their own name, only there would be son or daughter at the end of it. So Carl's son, daughter's son, or Carl's son, Carl's daughter is the other one. Anyway, same thing is what that's what means son of God. The house of El was Superman. I'm not saying that the Superman is like a literal sub. There's something, I feel like there's something more code there. You know what I mean?
Well, I was wondering if like the consciousness would be like because it seems like the sun and the earth, like the human consciousness is so linked into like what we actually perceive in the universe. So like as we rise as a collective, like could we actually be projecting onto the sun and like creating like images and in like the ether or something,
Right,
like because we kind of do that on an individual level anyway. So I mean, that's it's just kind of the thing about like I guess nothing is off the table really. It's like
right.
it's a universe of infinite possibilities. So
You never know which one's going to be picked today.
yeah, yeah,
And we keep talking
exactly.
realities and timelines and stuff. Like we had a big giant jump last night that like we lost half of the data, and then they cut and paste some random picture for the Schumann.
Yeah, I saw that last night.
Yeah.
The old blackout.
Well, now it looks like that there was something there, but it's clearly not like real. It looks like a cut and paste. They filled in the gap with like a repeating. Let me find it for you. I'm just going to hold up my phone. I'm not sure how well everyone's going to see it. Um, so yeah, see that. Dang it. Oh well. Well, anyway, it there's a static spot where my right here where my finger's tapping. That static spot was where there was a blackout. Now it looks like there's another blackout, perhaps, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken. So we
oh,
should be right about here where this finger's tapping. I know you can't see it very good. I only have it on my phone as an app. I don't. Otherwise, I'd bring it up on the screen. But oh, and to give kudos to thank you so much, Lavender Sky Panther. That image was from Consciously Aaron's YouTube channel, and coincidentally, Consciously Aaron is going to be on the show next Wednesday. So like it's kind of interesting. We shared her information already, and didn't. That's like that's a cool little commercial. But there's definitely some big spikes in energy happening right now.
oh
And
yeah.
there's something else too. The S on Superman can be an S like serpent, snake, and the snake cosmic egg idea, the galactic origin of where he comes from, that green kryptonite, or a ton of other possibilities. It's really interesting. But there's a lot to it. I can say this, okay, is that today and through the 111, wait, 1111 portal, which is on Sunday for everybody, I guess, is um, we're gonna be experiencing a lot of stuff. We're gonna be experiencing a lot more because there's so many different alignments and things. We're expecting a really big impact with the sun from the sun in the next relatively near future, if not really soon. And so um, and then along with that, if you want to join us for our meditation group that we're going to do on Sunday for the Northern Hemisphere, Monday for the Southern Hemisphere, you'll find that link in the community section later on. I just want to be for sure to say all that. I don't know how long you want to go, but we can go for a little longer if you want, or we can close up the conversation. It's up to. I know this has been really a lot of energy flow, and so like if you need to be done, an hour is usually pretty good. So it's up to you.
I'm good either way, really.
Okay.
I
Oh,
do. I was kind of thinking like, um, oh, I got a little friend here. Wait, I gotta show you guys something.
oh,
He just popped in.
is this? What kind of beetle is that?
It's called a seed bug.
A seed bug. A seed bug.
He's
Interesting.
this one is always showing up at synchronous times.
Huh. Okay, we got to look that up now. I can't not do that. I wonder if this will come up. They always do, even when we don't think that they're going to. Okay. Well, it says um, that. Oh wait, hold on. Here we go. Here we go. So a a seed bug totem refers to the symbolic meaning or spiritual significance people assign to seed bugs, which is um, uh, community, survival, quiet presence, or a simple call to notice nature, contrasting their nuisance factor as they seek overwintering sports. Sometimes can be viewed as free bird food by some. It says. Well, and I don't know if you saw the comments, but so many people made reference to your gentle tone, your soft tone, but powerful words, throughout the comments as we've been talking. And I feel like that's very synchronistic of like of a medicine, animal medicine that you might have as part of your actual totem. I didn't mean to click away from that so fast. And she also brought up the frog, and frog is the voice. The frog teaches us to use our voice, the throat chakra.
Oh
Maybe you
yeah,
need to be back on my
especially
chakras.
the bullfrog.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
cleansing,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Definitely. Yeah. As I was talking, I noticed it too when we were talking about like the spirit, kind of subdividing into fractals and stuff. Like I have so much wanted to say about that, but I feel like I have some lower body energy. I need to move up outside or something.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So, um, well, it's kind of like it feels a bit heavy in my body, I guess. So, like, I
Yeah.
guess if for the sake of the conversation, maybe I could go clear out a little bit, like walk around, come back in like 5 minutes or something.
Well, um,
Might be
or we could, I think it's a good idea to actually close it if that's okay with you.
okay.
Just because, like, I don't know what I would do for 5 minutes. I'm that person that I've habitually been like early for everything, that now everything's digital on my computer. Like I'm ready to be ready. And then it's like, what am I going to do for these? And then I end up coming back late. I always end up late because I have, what am I going to do for 10 minutes kind of a thing. But I would love for you to join me again, though. I really, really would. I mean it. Like, I love our conversations, and I feel like that, even if it's sporadic or unplanned, where we just like, if you feel like coming on, send me a message, and maybe like I'll be able to right then, and we can just go like with the flow in the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
thought about that before
oh,
because
that's why we're
like
bringing it up.
I've definitely thought about that before. It'd be cool to just like jump on
Yeah,
because sometimes like the anticipating is worse than just going on and doing something.
right. Oh, totally,
And
totally. Well,
it's
you did amazing, though. I just want you to know that. And I've never offered anyone that, so I think that's really powerful that you were thinking that, and that's yeah, like that's my own validation. That I validation's good, no matter who you are, you know,
Mhm.
how much experience you have. It's always good to know that you're not crazy, you know. But
It's
yeah,
true.
let's plan on that. So we'll see Josh again real soon, guys. Um, in the meantime, I do feel that too. Actually, I'm gonna go do some qigong. I really feel like I needed to go kind of maybe even tai chi, um, but just get some motion going. I've been sitting too long. I had a session before this, but I thank you so much for joining us today, Josh. This has been really powerful. We've covered some really awesome topics, and much more to come in the future.
Yes, I love doing these. I love coming on and talking, feeling the energy, and you know. So I definitely look forward to next time, and maybe we can just do a spontaneous kind of get together or something and see where it goes. It'd be fun.
Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, just shoot me a message on Telegram. Um,
Travis, my boy.
I'm so happy that your friend came.
Yeah,
Like
he's
it
so
makes
cool.
And all of you in the audience, I want to say thank you. I'm getting a little teary. It's so beautiful to see this community and how supportive and loving you all are for one another. The compassion and the joy and the friends and the family and just the awesomeness. And so, thank you, all of you, for being such a great audience. And I love you, all of you. And if you can, join us on Sunday for the Northern Hemisphere, Monday for the Southern Hemisphere. We're doing, pardon me, a group meditation for the 1111 portal. I always have a hard time with that because it's a 1 year. There's a lot of one stuff going on this year. So if you want to join us, that'll be at 7:30 uh, um, Central Time PM is when we're starting, and I will put up a link and an announcement for y'all to find probably tonight, if not tomorrow. So, are you two twins? Just here, so are you two twins?
I think
Um,
so.
that's awesome. That's actually quite a bit of a compliment because I really enjoy your energy. So thank you. Um, I love you, all of you. Thank you again, Josh, and I'll see you all real soon. I hope
Bye,
bless.
everyone.